This class is largely going to be practical application. All right, so we're going to do a lot of drilling. We're going to do a little bit of theory on them, but most of the time is going to be taken up by stabbing. And then we're going to do some feinting at the end. We're going to go through some stab feints, or some stab drills and some feinting drills. Just before we get there, I want to go ahead and say that drilling feints is really sort of difficult, because the entire point of a feint is you don't know that you're going to out, right? And it's hard to drill that, because your opponent sort of knows that you're going to try and sell them on something. So, when we get to that, or when we're working on the stabs in general, just go ahead and play along and let them stab you, and go ahead and buy the fake if it looks at all decent, because this is practice. Alright. Section 1. Stabs.
That wasn't an evil enough smile. Thank you.
Section 1. Stabbing lobster.
Sweet!
Into canyon. Stabs from lobster into canyon. Quickly, someone, what is the advantage of a stab over a normal shot?
Shortest point, A to B.
Is the shortest point. It is a line. Anything else?
It's hard to see coming.
Very solid if you do it right.
Yeah, that's kind of a side effect.
It's a little bit harder to see coming.
It's a little bit harder to see coming. Why is that?
Because it comes directly at you. Just you're not seeing a profile.
Right. It's only moving in really one dimension.
Mm-hmm.
It's more difficult to block because you're not blocking a line, you're blocking a point.
Correct, which is much harder to do. If you had taken my Florentine class, like he did, you find out that there's ways to do that anyways, but it's still much harder to block than a normal attack. Also, what's really good is a partially blocked stab is still likely to hit someone. Alright, if I partially block, or kind of crappily block a wrap, I'm likely to knock it off where it doesn't matter. Okay, it's likely to bounce off, it's likely to keep going, it's likely to hit the ground, whatever. If I partially block a good stab, I'm likely to push it into another part of my torso, or push it into my groin, or push it into an arm or a leg. It's probably still going to connect somewhere. Stabs are very forceful. You've got to get them early, and you've got to get all of them in order to avoid being hit by a stab. Alright? Shields are really the best thing to stop a stab, because you can just put it there, and no matter what happens, it's pretty much going to stop. Blocking one with the sword, very iffy unless you do it just right. Alright. Correct stab form. I need a volunteer, Lopter. Alright. Generally, you're going to go from a up guard position when you're stabbing. You drop it down. As you drop it down, if you're in a fist grip, go ahead and move up to a saber grip. Saber grip has my thumb up like this. Everybody see this?
That's so you waste no energy.
Part of it,
And you're
actually.
sliding down your hand.
Yeah, but it's also for the tip control. It's much easier to control the tip of a stab, which is all that we're going to be hitting them with, hopefully, if you've got the thumb up than if you have just the fist. All right. So you come down from this where you've got the fist, thumb comes up. You start the stab actually with your hips. Okay. You start moving the hips forward. When you reach full extension of the hips, you start moving the shoulder forward. When you reach full extension with the shoulder, you start moving the elbow. When you reach full extension with the elbow, you rotate your hand over. Okay. And while we do this, we actually rotate over while we're doing all of this extension, so it should be fully rotated as we hit. Because if you don't rotate, you're going to have a lot of upward motion. And a lot of people, when they start stabbing, do a lot of this. Okay? You'll see a lot of people when they first start stabbing people in the throat, the chin, the nose. Okay? And we don't want to do any of that, because Lopter doesn't like it.
I prefer a solid...
So what we're going to do to combat that is we're going to turn our inclination to have upward momentum, upward motion, into rotational motion. So it's going to be like opening a bottle of wine with a corkscrew. Think of Lopter like a bottle of wine, think of yourself like a corkscrew, and you'll do just fine in his report. Okay.
This is dirty in so many ways.
Yes, isn't it?
Stab that meat.
Starts up, goes down, hips start forward, shoulder starts forward, hand starts over, stab. Okay? And you see what's happening is I've ended up with my thumb rotated about 90 degrees. My thumb is starting facing up, and when it's ending, I'm facing left, as my thumb is. Alright? if you feel that if you're having still upward motion, rotate your thumb more. Okay? Basically, the more you rotate your thumb, the less upward motion you'll have. Because what's actually happening is you're starting to go slightly up and you're starting to go slightly to the side and it's evening out. So, if you actually need to stab down for whatever reason, you just rotate completely over. You'll stab down. Oh, I missed, damn it.
That's not a good
That'll
thing.
cost you.
Yeah.
There you go. So if you get full rotation, you stab down. Half rotation, you should stab straight. And if you want to stab up for some reason, if you're doing like a drop stab, which we'll do later, there's actually no rotation. Okay. But again, proper stab form, start up, come down, start with the hips, forward, 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 rotation. All right. All right, a stab is the quickest possible attack with the least wasted motion. Point A, point B. Point A is your hand, point B is them. There's this whole stick-like thing in the middle, which should be protruding through their spine. Stabs are very hard to block due to their speed. They're very, very, very quick. All right, it goes from 0 to finished really quickly. Wraps, some people have a wind-up. A lot of people have to go out real far to get a wrap. A stab is just done. Very short motion. And of course, it's moving in just one dimension, which is not only hard to block, it is actually hard to see because there's not a whole lot of perspective of the tip getting larger, which is how we judge single-dimensional objects approaching, is through their increase in size. That's why people can get snowblind in a very uniform environment where they have nothing to judge distance. If you see a matchbox sitting on a hill, it looks like a building very far away. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that or if you've had to deal with that, but it's very much the same thing. If you're looking at just a single round dot approaching, it's very hard to judge that distance. Okay. Which is handy for pointing it at people's face. We'll get into that later. That's not a joke. All right. First one we're going to work on. No.
He'll learn quick.
Should I stay right here?
Did you see the rotation on that one?
I didn't quite catch the rotation.
Yeah.
Actually, I just put it out there and started rotating.
Yeah.
Also, what I'm doing is I'm bracing my thumb against the bottom padding of the sword, so there's no give. Right?
There is none of this sloppy sliding in your hand shit.
No, that's bad. We don't want that. That's for friends, because stabbers don't have friends. First thing we're going to work on is pump stab the Florentiner. Again, this is practical application. If you took my
Pass me those
Florentine
two
class,
swords,
you
please.
care about this very little. However, if you haven't, this is very effective on Florentinites. All right. You're actually going to over-exaggerate the dropping down. Okay? So you're going to drop it down. You want them to see that. All right? Florentiners expect to be stabbed, so what you're going to do is you're going to give that to them. You're going to give that to them by pumping. Don't do the right thing. Damn it. Okay. Stab. They're going to overcorrect. They're probably going to go way over like this. We pull back a little bit. They're going to think that they're being baited out for the hip or something, so they're probably going to go wide at that point. So they're going to overcorrect, then they're going to go wide, and then we're going to stab them. So, drop, pump, stab. Good. All right, so that's what we want to try. Break into groups. If you don't have two swords, use one and just stand like you're a Florentino. We'll fake. Go ahead and buy, pump. I know that you know what's coming. At the same time, this is practice. I'm going to go around and correct form while we're doing this.